Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our weekly press briefing. As you are aware, the high-level segment of the 76th UN General Assembly session is currently underway in New York. The theme of the session is building resilience through hope to recover from COVID-19, rebuild sustainably, respond to the needs of the planet, respect the rights of the people, and revitalize the United Nations. Prime Minister Imran Khan will address the UNGA virtually on 24th September afternoon, New York time. The Prime Minister will present Pakistan's perspective on various regional and international issues. Jammu and Kashmir will be one of the key areas of focus besides the situation in Afghanistan and other areas of common concern, including combating Islamophobia, corruption, and illicit financial flows, as well as climate change. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi is already in New York and has a packed schedule, as you would have been following. He had a talk at the Council on Foreign Relations. He has attended various high-level meetings, including the D8 ministerial, and has had bilateral meetings with UN High Commissioner for Refugees and his counterparts from Egypt, Portugal, Norway, Ireland, EU High Representative, Qatar, Austria, and Slovenia, besides engagements with the media and the dynamic Pakistani American community. Multiple engagements are lined up for today onwards, including the OIC contact group on Jammu and Kashmir, the Uniting for Consensus ministerial meetings with the UN Secretary General and the President of the UNGA, and other bilateral and media engagements. During these interactions, the Foreign Minister has been underlining the need for collective action and multilateral cooperation to effectively address common challenges. Given the current regional situation, international interest, and Pakistan's active engagement, Afghanistan has been a central theme in these engagements. The Foreign Minister has also highlighted the gravity of the human rights situation in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, has shared the dossier on Indian human rights violations in IIOJK with his interlocutors, and underlined the need for urgent steps to bring an end to those violations. The Prime Minister's policy address and the Foreign Minister's visit to New York will serve to enhance Pakistan's diplomatic outreach and engagement with other international partners, and reaffirm our abiding commitment to multilateralism and UN's central role on peace and security, development, and human rights. Pakistan will also be participating actively in the UNGA plenary and its main committees over the coming weeks. As you know, the Prime Minister led the Pakistan delegation to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO summit held in Dushanbe on 16 to 17 September 2021. In his statement at the summit, the Prime Minister highlighted Pakistan's priorities for the SCO framework for cooperation, in particular socio-economic development, poverty alleviation, connectivity projects, and climate change. Reaffirming Pakistan's position on implementation of UN Security Council resolutions for peaceful settlement of outstanding disputes, the Prime Minister cautioned that any tendency towards unilateral and illegal measures to change the status of the disputed territories in violation of Security Council resolutions runs counter to the objectives of peace and security. The Prime Minister shared Pakistan's point of view on Afghanistan and stressed the need to stand by the people of Afghanistan. He also briefed about Pakistan's assistance for evacuation efforts and humanitarian support for Afghanistan. On the sidelines of the summit, the Prime Minister also held bilateral meetings with the presidents of Uzbekistan, Iran, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. The Chinese State Councillor and Foreign Minister also called on the Prime Minister. In the bilateral component of the visit that followed the SCO summit, The Prime Minister had detailed interaction with the Tajik President. A joint statement was also adopted for the establishment of strategic partnership between the two countries. Besides Tajikistan-Pakistan Business Forum, 9 bilateral documents, including various agreements and MOUs, were signed during the visit, and these included the fields of tourism, banking, financial cooperation, sports, taxation, and information exchange. The visit goes a long way in operationalizing Pakistan's vision, Central Asia policy, and geo-economic focus. While in Dushanbe, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi also met his counterparts from Russia and Iran, and an informal meeting of the foreign ministers of China, Russia, Pakistan, and Iran was also held on the sidelines to discuss the situation in Afghanistan. The ministers also agreed to continue close cooperation on Afghanistan, and we are following the developments closely as they happen in Afghanistan. We have taken note of the expansion in the interim cabinet with representation of different ethnic and political groups. This is a positive direction, and we hope they continue to take steps leading to lasting stability in the country. We continue to engage with the interim authorities, special representatives of China, Russia, and Pakistan on Afghanistan were in Kabul recently. This visit highlighted the importance of close coordination to promote the shared objectives of a peaceful, stable, sovereign, and prosperous Afghanistan. We continue to urge the international community on the imperative of constructive engagement and timely mobilization of humanitarian assistance, on which Pakistan itself has led from the front with additional food supplies sent to Afghanistan in recent days. Let me reiterate that ensuring peace and stability in Afghanistan is a shared responsibility of the international community. Coming to Jammu and Kashmir, as you know, on 12th September, Pakistan presented a detailed dossier highlighting India's egregious human rights violations in IIOJK. In recent days, we have briefed the diplomatic community, the resident envoys in Islamabad on the contents of the dossier, and have shared copies of the dossier with them. We are also doing that in capitals around the world, drawing attention of the international community to Indian illegal actions and human rights violations in IIOJK. The foreign minister is also briefing his counterparts in New York on the dossier and emphasizing the need for urgent action to address the situation which is deteriorating on ground because, as we observe, the draconian military siege, the extrajudicial killings, torture in custody, and forced disappearances and illegal detentions are continuing in the occupied territory. 3 Kashmiri youth have been martyred extrajudicially in recent days. 22 journalists, among 43 others, have been banned from traveling outside IIOJK and India as per a lookout circular list prepared by the Indian authorities. These are Indian ploys to silence the voices of dissent and muzzle the Kashmiri voice. The continuing violence against innocent Kashmiris only shows India's frustration over its failure to suppress the just struggle of the Kashmiris for their right to self-determination. We have also seen recent Indian media reports insinuating about alleged infiltration from across the line of control. Pakistan categorically rejects these allegations as baseless and unfounded. Such allegations are established Indian tactics to create false alarm and implicate Pakistan before major international events often. We have alerted and continue to caution the international community on these dangerous Indian tactics built around false flag operations and fake encounters, which have also been exposed in the dossier that we have recently presented. The Kashmiri freedom movement against Indian occupation and the reign of terror in occupied territories is indigenous. Pakistan deplores India's flimsy efforts to divert the world attention from its indefensible actions and human rights violations in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. We believe these tactics cannot suppress the will of the Kashmiri people. Pakistan will continue to provide all possible support to the Kashmiri people in their just struggle. Let me also inform you that in the context of our bilateral relations, many important meetings are taking place, and one such meeting is the Joint Coordination Committee between Pakistan and China, which is focusing on CPEC, and the meeting is happening today. Thank you, and I am available to take your questions.